Hello.
Hi, Sybil.
Hello. Hi, Jessica. To our audience, we're back. This is Center for Community Radio. This is our webcast, Indiana edition for COVID-19. We have with us our guest today for our third segment, Jessica Clark. She's the Executive Director of the Indiana Care Center. For those of us that don't know or understand a lot about the Care Center, can you tell us a little bit about the Care Center and what is your mission?
Sure. The Care Center is a nonprofit dedicated to improving the lives of abused, neglected, and at-risk children. We do this through 4 programs that we have at the Care Center. We're an umbrella agency, so we have 4 different programs under one roof. Our first program is our Children's Advocacy Center. This is where we bring together a team and we talk with children when there are allegations of physical or sexual abuse. We bring the child here with a non-offending caregiver, and we interview the child, asking them non-leading questions, and we record this interview, and that is used as the baseline for the whole investigation for law enforcement, district attorney's office, and children and youth services. We also have family preservation services. This is where we work with families in home at the request of children and youth services when children have either been pulled from the home or are about to be pulled from the home. We also have our nurturing parent group. We work with individuals in the community and the Indiana County Jail to provide parenting support and instruction for free to these individuals who have been identified as at risk. And we also finally offer supervised visits for kids when there are safety issues at stake with a biological parent.
So you do offer comprehensive group of services for families that are at risk and that are struggling, trying to help and support children. I know, like, during this time, it's an awful time and everyone's, talking about sickness and death, and nobody wants to talk about, the child abuse or neglect that's happening. But can you tell us, why abuse and neglect may at this time increase, and why you may see an increase of abuse and neglect with children right now?
Absolutely. I've been on conference calls and Zoom meetings for the past 3 weeks talking about this issue right here. And I can tell you that all of the children advocacy centers across Pennsylvania and here in Indiana County, we're working to address the issue. We're very familiar with this. We've seen this before, but not exactly with these conditions. This is kind of the perfect storm because you have kids that are at home, maybe unattended, and there's a lot of stress happening right now. There's stress with work, stress with life, stress with what's happening. And I think in general, at-risk kids, which may normally be at risk, they're even at greater risk right now. And what is happening is a lot of these kids would normally have support services. They'd be going to school, they'd be going to activities, they'd be going to church, they'd be going to their sports, support services, and those people are all mandated reporters. So they would be making these reports when they see something happening with these kids. But because of our situation, because of our stay-at-home order, the kids aren't going out as much. They're not attending their support activities. So right now, there are not a lot of reports being made. When we come out of the stay-at-home order and we go back to our normal life, we're already making plans to see this surge in childline reports, which will ultimately end up us doing forensic interviews on these kids when these allegations are serious enough. And so across Pennsylvania, we've been talking weekly about how we're going to address this surge when the schools come back and when normal activity resumes.
Yeah, because I guess it's a little counterintuitive. You would think that your demand would increase now, but I guess what you're saying is because children are in the ones that are in a neglectful or abusive situation, their outlets for that to be exposed or to tell people have basically been cut off. So it's basically when community activity begins again, those avenues are open back up, and that's when you're expecting to see the numbers increase. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And just so you know, we are still doing forensic interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Forensic interviews are an essential service, so we haven't stopped doing them. We're doing what we consider the life-threatening ones, ones that can wait for several weeks until the social distancing is lifted. We will then continue doing those. So we are still currently doing the ones that are deemed essential. And just so you know, we see this regularly throughout the year. I mean, when kids go home for Christmas break from the school year and they come back from their Christmas break, we always see a surge in reports. Same thing with summer break, spring break, all of those. Whenever there's a lapse in a kid spending time with mandated reporters, when that gets picked up again, we see the surge. So we're prepared for this. We've been through this before.
And on that note, then what information, guidance, or training are people that work with at-risk families or foster families are you receiving now in preparation for that surge?
Well, what we're doing is we're continuing to work with all of our families. We haven't stopped providing services. We've just changed how we're providing services. So currently with all of our families that are at risk, we use a program called Incredible Years. And we've been very fortunate in that Incredible Years has released an online option for their program. So we haven't stopped any of our services. We're still continuing to work with those families. We're just doing it in an online platform. And we understand that not all of our families may have access to the internet, may not have a laptop to use. So we've been working around that as well. We do sessions on the telephone. We do porch drop-offs where we have dropped off materials, books, whatever they need on their porch for that family to make sure that they know that we're still here and supporting them. It's just, it looks differently for the time being for everybody's protection.
So I guess
that this is temporary. And
question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. So what are some tips or guidelines that you would like to share with families now about how to best parent in the midst of COVID-19? I know kids in Indiana area school districts just started back to school. So now there's the stress of not only, maybe a job was lost in the house, or income was lost in the house, or worried about income, paying rent, mortgage, things like that. And now on top of that, parents are expected to kind of guide their children and transition into a new way of learning. Can you share some tips or guidelines that you're sharing with some of your parents that might be helpful on how to deal with that stress during this transition?
Absolutely. And I just want to start off by saying that I think the first thing all of the parents out there need to do is just forgive yourself. This is not an easy transition. None of us, I think, were really prepared to be homeschool teachers. So I just want all the parents to understand that it's okay. You don't have to be perfect at this. And we're just all doing the best we can with what we have. But some of the things that I think would be really helpful is to keep routines in place. Keep your kids on a schedule, get up at the same time every day, start the activities at the same time every day. Be creative about what you're doing. It doesn't, not everything has to be math or reading. Sometimes you can go outside and go for walks and identify different kinds of trees. Sometimes you can look at different kinds of plants. You can think outside the box. Not everything has to be addition, subtraction, division, all that kind of stuff. Manage your own anxiety. Your kids pick up on your mood. They know you. Even if you think you're hiding it, your kids know you. So manage your own anxiety, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your kids. It's all about the example of the airplane where you have to put on your own oxygen mask and then you can put on the oxygen mask for your kid. You have to make sure you're okay so you can take care of your kid. Limit the consumption of news. Stay informed, but don't obsess over it. Don't watch it 24/7. Stay in touch virtually. Talk to people. Let your kids talk to people. I personally have my kids call my parents every day. They talk to their grandparents. They talk to their aunts, their uncle. They talk to their cousins on the phone. Sometimes we Skype with them just so they can see them face to face. Keep your kids in the loop, tell them what's happening, but keep it simple. You don't have to over explain it. Just tell them what's going on so that they understand what's happening. And check in with your kids to see how they're feeling. I, ask my daughter probably once a day, how is she doing, what she's feeling. Sometimes she'll talk, sometimes she won't. It just depends on her mood and what she needs that day. And I don't pressure her about it. I let her come to me and tell me what she needs. And, I think right now, sometimes the path of least resistance is the right path. Be kind to yourself. Expect that you're in survival mode. You're doing the best you can, and just forgive yourself and everything that's happening right now, because this isn't going to last forever. This is temporary. And I think we all just need to keep that in mind, and that we're all in this together.
Thank you. And so my final question is basically, where can parents go or families go if they start, feeling this stress or pressure due to the demands of the social isolation? Are there numbers or someplace they can go to find some support?
Yes, actually, I was really happy to find this today. You can text the Department of Health. They have a mental health crisis line. You can text or you can talk to them. You can text PA, that's just PA, to 741-741, and it's free confidential help. You can also call them 1-877-724-3258 for, again, free confidential mental help. And they're there 24/7 to help. I would also encourage parents just to reach out online, talk to your friends, talk to your family. Just keep in mind all of the safe practices that are in place.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about a very delicate topic. But just reminding us that it's just not about, people are not just losing money, and there's a comprehensive loss that's going on. And sometimes it is, in fact, advantageous for us to reach out and find support for mental health issues or for anxiety or some of the feelings that we're having that may affect our family as well. So we thank you and we appreciate your time today, and Godspeed to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sybil.